Hello everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace. I'm the crochet pattern designer behind stitchberryblog.com. I love sharing simple, feminine, and timeless crochet patterns. So if that sounds like your style, be sure to check out my blog for a ton of free crochet patterns and resources. Here on my channel, I love sharing all about my making and my designs and just all things cozy. So if you love knitting, crocheting, cozy, this is a great place to be if I do say so myself. This is episode 31 of the Stitchberry podcast, and here specifically in my podcast videos, I like giving updates on my projects, including my designs, just other fun things related to knitting and crocheting or anything cozy that may not really fit into one of my vlogs or other videos. So it has been very dreary and rainy and cloudy for an entire week, which as someone who makes a lot of content for their job has not been ideal, but it has been perfect for making and just being cozy and just that gloomy, spooky fall vibe. So that is why the podcast is also darker today. I did put the lights on behind me, so hopefully that helps, and hopefully it's just a nice cozy little vibe today. So anyways, I do not have any finished projects to share in today's episode. I do actually have a couple that are close to being done, but they are not done. So with that, grab a project and a cozy beverage, and let's dive in with works in progress. So I'm gonna share this first project first because it's kind of a finished project, but it's not completely finished, so it's still getting shown in whips, and it is my fall socks. I'm kind of calling these the foliage socks just because this color reminds me of fall leaves and fall foliage. So I like to knit a pair of cozy fall socks every year, and this one worked up really quickly, at least the first sock. I think I knit this in about 2 weeks, and I'm not even joking. I was working yesterday on the foot and I got all the way to the toe, and all I had left to do was Kitchener the toe shut, but I didn't feel like doing that yesterday, so I didn't. And this morning I was like, Grace, that is ridiculous to show a finished sock, but like you still have to Kitchener it closed. So I sat down literally right before I started filming and I finished off the toe. So I'm using Black Cat fiber yarns. I forget the exact name of the color. It was called something with Canyon, I believe, but like I said earlier, it's just very moody, very perfect for fall. It has greens, browns, some red, orange, so cozy. And I'm knitting top down. This is just a simple vanilla sock. I like to do 60 stitches for mine. I do like mine to be a little bit more snug just because I feel like they stretch over time, and I just like how they fit on my foot. And of course I did a heel flap and gusset for this one. Like I said, I literally just finished this one last night, so I have not started the second one, but hopefully sometime this week I can cast on the second sock. And yeah, I've not started the second one because, as I said, I literally just finished this one this morning, but hopefully I can cast that one on at some point this week. And yeah, there's really not that much to talk about with this sock. It's just a simple vanilla sock. And while we're at it, I might as well quickly share my other sock project really quickly. So I am knitting a pair of socks for my sister using yarn from Oaken Fiber. It's on her DK weight base, and the color is Robin's Egg. I'll just show you the color. It is so pretty. I was originally going to make these for myself, and then as I started knitting the first sock, I was like, my sister would love these socks and this color. So I'm very excited to give them to her, but I'm also like, oh, I really love this color and I want a pair of socks for myself in this color, but it's okay. I already have plenty of socks and I know that she's going to love them. So as I've talked about plenty of times, I have the first sock almost done. I just needed to try it on her, to make sure I get the right length, but I wasn't going to be seeing her for a little bit, so I wanted to go ahead and start the second sock. So I have 2 socks that are ish almost done. This one I have maybe about an inch left of the foot to do before I can do the toe, and then this one, so I'm just now like 8 rounds into the foot. So these work up super quickly. I love making DK weight socks. They're just so thick and cozy, and they also work up so insanely fast. I do 48 stitches for my DK weight socks, and so it just flies by. So I think now that I have that first sock done of the other socks that I'm working on that I just showed, I might go ahead and put more attention into these just so that I can finish these up, because I know that I can finish up this pair a lot quicker in the time that it would take me to start and finish that other sock. So I think my focus will go back into this one. I was focusing a little bit more on the other one for a while, but now I think I might start working on these a little bit more now, just so that I can finish them up and have something else off of my needles. Okay, should I share my folklore cardigan next or a new design? I think I want to do the folklore cardigan. So I have made some exciting progress this past week. So I had all of the panels knit last time I showed this project, or last time I recorded a podcast, and I've been slowly chugging away on doing all of the not so fun finishing things that need to happen when making a garment. So I blocked all of the pieces individually, and that took several days to do because I do not have enough blocking mats for all of the pieces at one time, so I had to block 1 or 2 pieces at a time, and then of course it would take like a whole day for it to dry. So it was kind of a whole ordeal for like 4 days to block this, but I finally blocked it, and then I started on seaming it together. So this is what I have. It's not going to look like much. I mean, it does kind of look like a cardigan now for once. It's going to be really hard to show on the podcast today. Oh, before I show it, oh my gosh, this is so chaotic. Before I show it, I want to do the details before I forget. This is a free knitting pattern by Lion Brand, and I am knitting the medium size, and I'm using Swish worsted. I know the green is Lost Lake Heather, and then I always forget what the main color is. I forget. I will put it on the screen with all that out of the way. So I have done most of the seaming. I am almost done. I did the side seams. This is gonna be so hard to show. Here's the back panel, and I sewed up one sleeve, and then I was able to sew it into the cardigan, which is fun. This cardigan was really interesting and new for me because with every other garment that I've made where you're making it in panels, I am used to sewing the shoulder seams together, so like the back panel and then the front panel, sewing that together, sewing up the sides, and then you have like an armhole where you sew in the sleeve. But with this one, it's really interesting. I don't know if you can see, it has like a shoulder cap, and so the sleeve, this is the sleeve right here. This is so hard to show. I am so sorry. I cannot wait for the next episode when I can like put this on and show you guys. So this is the back panel right here. This is the front panel, and you sew the sleeve into those shoulder seams, if that makes sense. This is the back panel, this is the shoulder, this is here at the top is kind of where they all meet together, the back, sleeve, and front panel, and then this seam here is the front panel. When I started seaming, I did sew along the shoulder seams, and then I realized that that is not correct, and I need to rip out because you put the sleeve in to sew it in. So I had to rip that back out and then redo it, with putting in the sleeve. So hopefully that made sense. It was an interesting construction that I have not done before, and I did work yesterday. I did sew the other sleeve. I was too lazy to bring it over because I was like, you know, this sleeve is like, it's the exact same thing. So I do have it, it's just not in this room. I did sew up the shoulder seam so that it is like closed. So all I have left to do is sew it into the cardigan. And then I basically have a cardigan, which is wild. Finally, I am ready to be done with this. I've loved making this. I really surprised myself with how much I enjoyed this project. It was so fun, and it was just the perfect project for me at the time of life that I was in when I was knitting a majority of it. It was just a great challenge and just really fun, and I really surprised myself with how I was able to knit cables because I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it actually is. So anyways, my goal for this week or the next week or two is obviously finish seaming, weaving in like 10,000 ends, and then doing the collar. And it is on my list to do this week. I need to order buttons. I think I'm gonna order some wooden buttons from Etsy to put on this. Just then I have it for the cardigan for when I'm ready to put those on as like the finishing touch, which is wild. So here she is in all of her glory. So beautiful. It will be very bittersweet to finish this project, but mostly sweet because I am ready to move on to other projects and to just have a whip that has just been lingering on my needles for 3 months, to just have it done. And it will be so nice to have this in my wardrobe to wear this fall and winter. Last episode I talked about how I wanted to start a design with this yarn. This is also Swish DK. Forget the name, I will also put the name up. And I am making a sweater vest. This is a design by me, so there's not a pattern for it yet. But anyways, I've been wanting to make a sweater vest pattern for probably 2 or 3 years. I just always ran out of time, and I also didn't have the inspiration for it. Like, I didn't know exactly how I wanted to shape it and what I wanted to do with it. And this year I went through a lot of variations in my head and design concepts and stitches and construction and all of that. There were so many things going through my brain with this design, but we finally settled on a direction for this vest. I think the thing that I struggled with is there were too many things I wanted to include in the vest, and so I finally came to terms with, Grace, you need to just pick one direction, and you know, next year you can always revisit designing another sweater and use some of those other design features that you wanted to include in this pattern. So with that, let me show you what I have so far. I have made so much progress on this. I am obsessed with sweater vests now, and I really want to knit one too because they work up so fast because you don't have to do sleeves, which is amazing. Everyone hates doing sleeves, so the fact that you have like a whole garment that just works up so quickly is amazing. I need to stop rambling and just show you. So this is the front panel. It is worked bottom up. You have some decreases for the arm, and then you have some shaping up here for the neckline. As you can see, I have not finished the other side of this, and I think I do need to add some more rows to this side as well. But this is what it's kind of going to look like, and then I'm going to do ribbing all along here just to match the bottom. But let's get a close-up of this stitch pattern because it is so good. Oh, there we go. The camera isn't even doing it justice. I'm doing kind of almost these like texture stripes. So having these bigger stripes of this super squishy texture with these like knit-like ridges. Yeah, the camera is not doing it justice. In person, it is beautiful and it is so cool, but it is just not showing up on camera, which is a shame because it is so good. So this is where I'm at with the front panel, and then I started this weekend on the back panel. Again, works up so fast. I am almost to where I need to start decreasing for the armhole. There's really not that much else to talk about with this, except I'm really enjoying working on it. It's really fun, and again, works up really quickly. I feel like this is a project that you could easily make in a couple days to a week. The only reason why it is going to take me more than a week is because I just had to rip back so many times with designing it and trying to get the shaping right and the length right and the sizing right. So it just took me a while just figuring out all of the details and the logistics, but when you're following the pattern as just a crocheter, it is something that will work up so quickly. So I'm very excited to make more progress on this and just see how it turns out, and to be able to add my first ever sweater vest to my wardrobe. That is all of the progress I have made on my whips. So now let's talk about a really exciting project plan. So last winter, or last Christmas, I purchased the Downton Abbey holiday countdown from Sorella Yarn, and this is going to be so hard to show on camera, but it was 10 mini skeins, and this is what they look like. It's gonna be so hard to show this. I will just have to put in a video of kind of them all laid out so you can see it. And I want to design a advent friendly crochet pattern with this advent, just because I feel like there isn't as many patterns out there that use yarn advents. I did design the Verdant shawl last year that uses 24 mini skeins, and it's a beautiful shawl that works great for advents, but this year I wanted to design one that works great for a 12-day advent, because 12 is also a very common number for advents, countdowns, things like that. And my inspiration, we'll see if it turns out. You may never see this again, and I may never talk about it again on the podcast, but my inspiration is this English paper piecing motif. I feel like it's the most common English paper piecing pattern, and I kind of want to use this flower motif as inspiration for my pattern, and I want to make a pillow kind of using this shape, so each color in the motif is like one of these. So my plan is to hold these double with themselves to make it a DK weight, and I did actually sort of experiment with this earlier this summer, and I made larger hexagons. Are they hexagons? I think they're hexagons, because I was just going to do the one center and then 6 around. And the great thing with this pattern concept, if it turns out, is it's in multiples of 6 or 12, which again works great for a 12-day advent. Originally wanted to do the middle section with a main color, a cream. You would have to get, you know, some other yarn for that center, but then each hexagon around is one of these mini skeins, and obviously with a 12-day you need 6 for one side, 6 for the other. And then I sort of experimented with it, and I still liked the idea. I just wasn't liking how it was looking with the huge hexagons. So my plan is I want to do a 3rd row of hexagons, so make the hexagons smaller but then do a 3rd row. So in order to do that, I need to be able to get 2 hexagons out of each mini skein while holding them together. So they're going to be quite small hexagons, and it'll still probably equal out to be ish the same size. I want to wind all of these up and then start working on it, because I did kind of experiment with this design earlier this summer, so I did at least figure out the pattern that I want for the hexagons. So now I just need to crochet them and put them together. But if you were paying attention earlier, I said that this was a 10-day and I need to make it 12-day friendly. So I went to my local yarn store because I knew it was going to be easier to try and find some colors that go with this palette in person than trying to find some online and hoping that they look good with the palette and that the colors coordinate and everything like that really well. So I went into my local yarn store, and to my pleasant surprise, I was able to find 2 colors that are perfect with this color palette. So I was able to get this mini skein, which is perfect because it's like a lighter version of this one. It's like a perfect color match for the colors that are in this skein. It just matches so perfectly, and it doesn't show up perfectly on camera, but like the colors are basically exact. So that was great. And then I was able to find this lovely speckled blue. It's getting blown out for some reason. It's a really gorgeous pale blue with these speckles, which the blue pairs nicely with this blue tonal right here that was already in the Advent, and it matches really well with the other speckle in the Advent, which I love that I was able to find this one because the speckled one is my favorite colorway in this Advent, and it's the only speckled one that was included. So I'm really happy that I was able to have another speckle that ties in with the other speckled colorway, but also like it matches the blue. So again, I will also put another photo or video of the whole palette with the 2 that I added into it, and I'm very excited. I think it is so gorgeous, and hopefully it turns out how I have in my head. If this doesn't turn out, I'm probably just gonna add these into a scrappy blanket or something because I really don't know what else to do with them if this pillow does not work out. So we shall see. I should have an update for you next time on the podcast, and the update will either be it was a no-go and it did not turn out, or it could be like almost done. I feel like there's no in between. That is my plan with this yarn, and wish me luck. So I have one acquisition to share with you. The folks at Page Street Publishing were very kind, and they wanted to send me a copy of Crochet in a Day, which is the new crochet book by Angie Bivens. She is crochet designer behind, what is it? I'm going to get it wrong. I don't want to get it wrong. Whistle and Wool. So lovely. She is such a talented crochet designer. I see her designs pop up on Instagram all the time. They are so lovely. And so basically the concept behind this book is all of these patterns can be made in a day, which we love a quick project that works up in a day, a weekend around here. So I love this idea and concept for this book, and she really has such a variety of patterns in this book. Like, it's not just like dishcloths and headbands and things like that, like those smaller projects. Like, she has some cardigan and sweater patterns, she has wraps and shawls, she has cozy things for the home, as well as accessories. So it is a really, really lovely book, and there are a ton of diagrams and photos to assist in the pattern making of all of these patterns, and they are so lovely and so beautiful. It was so fun to receive this in the mail and go through the book and feel just so inspired to make cozy projects. Like, all of these just scream fall, winter, cozy warmth, which is amazing. I will say, I don't know if I would categorize all of these projects as projects you can make in one day. Granted, I'm a very slow crocheter, so what I can crochet in a day is very different from other people who are much faster at crocheting, so I do recognize that. Like, I don't think I would be able to make any of these garments in a day, but I do think that they would be totally doable in a weekend or like 3 days or something like that. Like, all of these could easily be made in under a week. Like 3 to 5 days, I feel like, is where some of the bigger projects like the blankets and the sweaters kind of fall in that. But that is still a very short amount of time for a cardigan or a blanket. So Anyways, I did want to show you a couple of my favorite patterns in the book. So the first one is the Sway sweater. It is this lovely cropped cardigan, not cardigan, sorry, sweater. And it just has that lovely texture. I love it so much. It just looks so cozy and so chic, and the texture is just so good on this one, and it is very easy to do as well. Also, I did want to mention something that's great is at the top of each pattern. I don't want to show the pattern. See if it will focus. It shows you the time for each project, like the approximate project time that it will take you to complete each of these projects, which again, approximate because everyone crochets at different pace and things like that. So take that with a grain of salt, but it is also great to kind of see an approximate time of how much it would take to make. And I think that these slippers would be so fun to crochet, and again, these would only take like under 2 hours to make. They would make a great Christmas gift, and especially because they'd be so quick to work up, and those would be so cozy to wear around the house. Like, I love socks, I really do. And this backpack, the adventure backpack, is so chic and stylish, and again, amazing instructions and diagrams in this book. It is amazing. And one more pattern to show you. You know I love bows and anything that has to do with hair accessories, and the Cascade bow is so sweet and so cute. I love it so much, and this would be perfect for using up scraps of yarn. This pattern uses DK weight, so if you have any scraps of DK weight yarn, this is perfect for that. So I did want to just share this book with you. I think it is a great resource for people who like working on projects that don't take as much time, that work up quicker. This would also be a great resource for gifts. The projects in here, if you are short on time or you procrastinate on making a gift for someone, I think that this is a great book to refer to, just because everything in here works up so quickly, and they are all so lovely and beautiful. And for news, there isn't too much. I think this week the only thing new is I do have a crochet vlog. I was feeling very stressed and overwhelmed with a lot of my projects, so I kind of sat down, I made a big to-do list for October, and I began working on that to-do list. Like, you see me working on the folklore cardigan, I'm working on some other little random projects and kind of talking about some of my plans for October. So if you love a productive little vlog where I'm getting a lot done, I highly recommend that you watch that video, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of motivation to work on some of those tasks that you may not like working on when it comes to your knitting and crocheting. There is that video. I will have it linked down below, and I don't think that there's really anything else to share. So anyways, I hope you are enjoying your October and that you are getting lots of cozy making done. Please let me know down in the comments what you are working on or what you're excited about for October. I would love to hear it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.